Hello YouTubers, my name is Frederick Lopez and you're on a special segment of PCDC and Movie Review. PCDC, I talk about anything and everything politically correct about DC Comics, and Movie Review, I review a movie. So, in anticipation for the Killing Joke, I'm going over my favorite animated DC films. This one today will be Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, based on the Frank Miller graphic novel, The Dark Knight Returns. The Dark Knight Returns is probably one of the most quintessential and just definitive Batman stories ever written. It was written in 1986. Frank Miller, he worked with Marvel Comics on Daredevil, reinvented that hero, and then he worked with DC and made the graphic novel Ronin. So then when the time came, he made Batman, and he wanted to go back to it being dark. For a while, this is before the 1989 Batman, Batman was really campy, and all people really knew of him was the Adam West TV show. So he wanted to get more to the early 30s and him being a dark character again. So he created The Dark Knight Returns. And the movie is pretty much spot on of the graphic novel. Follows it very closely, and the story is basically a 55-year-old Bruce Wayne Batman. He's retired. You find out that the government did away with vigilantes, that they weren't allowed, and Bruce Wayne retired, and it starts with him just doing regular stuff a billionaire does. He's racing a car, he almost has a death wish, and he just needs some excitement, but you see that around him, Gotham is deteriorating and crime is rising without a Batman existing. So it starts off with him as Bruce Wayne, and Commissioner Gordon knows his secret, and Commissioner Gordon retires. And there's these criminals called the Mutants, who basically just go around terrorizing Gotham. And he almost gets mugged one night, and they decide to leave him alone, but afterwards he keeps on thinking of, after all the crime, of his parents getting shot. And it's really a story about Bruce Wayne returning to fight crime as the Batman after retiring for some years. The film stars Peter Weller as Bruce Wayne / Batman. Yes, Buckaroo Banzai and RoboCop Peter Weller. Ariel Winter plays Carrie Kelly / Robin. David Selby plays James Gordon. Wade Williams is Harvey Dent / Two-Face. Michael Emerson is the Joker. Mark Valley from Human Target and Boston Legal plays the voice of Superman. Robin Atkin Downs plays the voice of Oliver Queen. Tress MacNeille plays Selena Kyle. Michael McKean plays the voice of Dr. Bartholomew Walper. Jay Olivia directs the film. Anyway, Christopher Drake has an amazing soundtrack for this film. Gotham 1986, Mark Zorro, and The Dark Knight Returns are really great tracks on the soundtrack that I highly recommend to listening. You get really pumped up for it. Anyways, it starts off, Batman gets out of retirement. So the story is pretty much about Batman getting back into the scene again, and he's stopping the mutant leader. And it's very crazy seeing it, and it's very much the climate of the 1980s at the time. You even have Corto Maltese, the Soviet Union, Ronald Reagan, and Superman's in it as well. And there's a lot of stuff that Batman, Superman, and other incarnations of Batman have taken from this story. But you don't really get to see that till the end of it. But pretty much it starts off, Batman's fighting the mutants, and he faces against the mutant leader, gets badly injured, and this girl named Carrie Kelly helps him out. And it's also the first time we have a female Robin. She becomes his sidekick, and he starts to teach her things. Anyways, round 2, he starts to fight the mutant leader again in mud to make him slower. And after that, he uses the rest of the mutant gang members as proteges for his own army to fight against crime. So, of course, with the Batman returning, escalation occurs. And that's when the Joker gets motivated to go after the Batman. We get to see a glimpse of Harvey Dent. His face is fixed, but he doesn't believe so. So there's some interesting stuff there. And then the Doctor, Michael McKean's character, believes the Joker is rehabilitated and that Batman is the cause for his fixation and his psychoticness. And you find out that the Joker is actually quite insane. He kills a doctor, and then he's on the Dave Indickren show, kills everybody, and he starts going on a massive killing spree after the mutants are taken out. And Batman must stop him. But above that, You find out that Superman is working with the government, and the government doesn't like Batman being a vigilante. And Batman even says, "Is like, I'm an embarrassment to them. I do what they cannot do." So you get to see that, and then Commissioner Gordon has a replacement, and they start going after the Batman. But he tries to explain to her that Batman is bigger. He's too big to go after. He's an idea. So there's a lot of interesting ideologies in this story, and you find out that Superman has to stop the Batman at all costs. So it basically leads up to a confrontation of Superman against the Batman. Oliver Queen's there to aid Batman, and you find out that his arm is ripped off because he didn't want to stop being a vigilante. Superman did that to him. Superman goes after Batman, and he has to answer to these people. And Batman asks Superman, "Who do you answer to?" So it's a great fight because unlike the other movie where they're just enemies, not knowing each other, misunderstanding one another, this Batman and Superman have been friends for a period of time and were members of the Justice League, so they know what they're both were capable of. And it's a climatic battle, and the ending's just great. It's emotional with Alfred, and then like Bruce Wayne faking his death, but it's just a culmination, a great climax to the omega of Batman's career. Now, there ended up being a Dark Knight Strikes Again sequel, as well as some other stuff, but overall, it's a great closing chapter for Batman. But it remains faithful to the graphic novel. The artwork is the same almost. It's a little bit more messier in the graphic novel here, but it's very close. And it does some things just a little bit differently, but not to the point where it changes it too much. I would say some of the violence and stuff is toned down. James Gordon chews nicotine gum instead of smoking cigars. But it is PG-13, and I may add it's a really hard PG-13, and I'm surprised it didn't go up to being rated R. But that's not a bad thing at all. It is a very dark tale, and it's among the best with Under the Red Hood and Mask of the Phantasm. This is one of the finest Batman animated films, and I was worried because I originally wanted Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill to be Batman and the Joker, and surprisingly the voice work is done very well. Michael Emerson is a little bit kind of cold, but for this version of the Joker, it works. He's not as crazy as Mark Hamill or Troy Baker's, but you can understand he's kind of cold and psychotic, but to the point where he has a fixation on Batman. He's pretty much lifeless without the Batman at the beginning of the tale, and then when Batman begins to resurge, you see the Joker have a purpose again in his life, and you kind of understand their relationship. The climatic battle between him and the Joker is very, very, very intense. A lot of lives lost, but Batman finally goes to that breaking point, and it's nice seeing an older, more grisly Batman and the effect his life on crime has had on him and the people around him, as well as like the faith and hope the citizens of Gotham have, and the symbol Batman represents and what he brings out of people. But the animation's done really nice. There's a lot of good colors, and it's very fluid. It's mostly like Frank Miller's. Peter Weller does a great job as Batman. He's not like Kevin Conroy, but he kind of fits that Frank Miller-esque type of narration, much like the narration of like Marv from Sin City, and you can totally see him being an older version of Ben McKenzie's Batman from Batman Year One, because this serves as a later on chapter of it. You see that Gordon marries Sarah, the woman he had an affair with in Batman Year One. They confirm that in the movie compared to the graphic novel. But it's done very, very, very well, and that last fight is just amazing between Batman and Superman. You can tell the influences this movie and graphic novel, this story has had on other DC incarnations between Batman, Superman, even Arrow. Legends of Tomorrow had a nod to Oliver Queen having one arm. It's nice having a female Robin and then the kid Robin, so that's another different element, especially before everybody started gender swapping roles like nowadays. It's very different. You can see an older Selena, and just like, it's nice seeing like a more darker and grittier Batman. This one's probably the darkest one, and it's nice because it feels like Batman Year One or Batman 1989, it feels like it's in the real world. It grounds it, while also having these other fantasy elements. But overall, I give Batman The Dark Knight Returns a 5 out of 5, a 10 out of 10, and an A+. This was originally released as part 1 and part 2, but I would highly recommend getting the deluxe edition, which combines the film for a total of 146 minutes. And it really does make it worth it. It's a really great experience, and it's the darkest night yet. So, yeah. So definitely go check it out. Also, don't forget to check out my review of The Suicide Squad next week, as well as Batman the Killing Joke. Till next time.